What's up guys, Gaonan here, and welcome to episode 5 of Drafting to Masters. If you've missed any of the previous episodes, I've linked the playlist in the top right corner of this video. I started this series because I wanted to share my draft knowledge and have some fun. Every month since the release of Fall of Argenport, I've made top 50 Masters in draft, and I've done it with about a 60% win rate. I hope my videos can help someone else to make the climb to Masters as well. I also love talking about Eternal and helping others, so feel free to add me in game using the above tag. Additionally, you might notice that I have a free draft ticket. This is because I got it in a drop while I was watching a stream. So if you're not taking advantage of enjoying others' content and getting free drops in the process, I highly recommend it. Without further ado, let's get into the draft. Pack one, pick one, and we've got a couple of options here. Spirit Ward Shaman is interesting, protects all your guys from removal, but in general there's not a ton of removal. It's more about combat math. Xenon Lifespeaker is very strong. Giving all your units lifesteal can be game changing, especially in a race situation, and he comes down on turn 1, so really a high impact unit. Lethrite Target Caller is also good, as well as Hot Blood Barbarian. In my eyes, Xenon Lifespeaker is the strongest card here, so that's what I'm going to pick. Ooh, this is a nice second pack. I like Scavenging Spikeback, I like Pensive Lumen, and Corrupted Umbran is one of my favorite cards in this set. So, staying on color with the Xenon Lifespeaker, I'm going to pick up Corrupted Umbran here. Soulbringer does fit in the Wisp Radiant deck, and we, are starting to have a good start on that deck given our first 2 picks. It's not necessarily that we'll make that deck, but our other choices are Advanced Scout, Workshop Tinker, and a 4/3 for 4 is still a respectable body even if you don't get, either the summon or tribute effect from the card as well. So I'm going to take Soulbringer here. In this pack, we don't have a lot of good cards to choose from. Sky Crew is good flood protection, Back Alley Delinquent is a decent 2-drop, and Gale Prowler can win some games as well. Given that we only have shadow cards so far, I'm going to stay on color, stay as open as possible, and take this Back Alley Delinquent. Blade Whirl is a nice pickup. Entrancer is very good in the Wisp Radiant deck. I like the silence effect a lot. There are a lot of relevant cards that are 3 cost or less that this can hit. So given that we have a shot at this Wisp Radiant deck, I'm willing to take it here. Here I'm just going to take the standard because I prefer the spell over these potential cards here. So no time cards, no shadow cards. Could just be an anomaly in this pack, but Ruination Sledge I think is the strongest card. Guard Dog is also decent, but I like taking Ruination Sledge here given what else we have at the moment. Saddle Up is an okay trick. Learned Herbalist is a decent 2-drop. Back Alley Delinquent is a decent 2-drop. I'm going to take the Learned Herbalist here. I like it more than Saddle Up and Back Alley Delinquent. Could take Lock Horns though, because it does at least have some synergy with like Corrupted Umbran, and it can take out some X1s in the format. Hopefully I don't have to play any of these cards honestly, so I'm going to take Lock Horns here. This is a very late Peacekeeper's Helm. Could be a signal that Justice is open, so I'm going to take this here. And these are just filler picks at this point. So heading into pack 2, we've got Oni Ronin, which is probably one of the strongest 1-drops in the game. We've got Ruination Sledge to go along with that. We could take the Ravenous Thorn Beast, which Works well with some of these weaker cards like Entrancer and Back Alley Delinquent. Also is a Tribute Enabler. Infuse Strike is an okay trick, and the other cards don't excite me that much. I don't know if I'm committed to this Wisp Radiant deck yet. I'm wondering if there's a better aggressive Stone Scar deck here. So I'm going to take the Oni Ronin, even though the Thorn Beast is the safer pick, because this makes the deck 9 out of 10 times, and this we're not sure about yet. But Oni Ronin is a very strong 1-drop, so I'm happy to pick it up here. Rapid Shot is the best kind of trick for this deck. Other noteworthy cards are Into the Furnace. Cabal Slasher is really good in this type of deck. Has great synergy with Corrupted Umbran. And Teriak's Hatchling is just a very strong card, so seems like Elysian might be open, but we're far away from that, so I'm just going to take the Rapid Shot. Duskwalker is a nice pickup here. A 4/4 for 4 is no joke, and once again works in that Wisp Radiant deck, so we'll take that here. Is there a world where we could potentially splash this Combust? We're likely to have some weak cards, or weak units that we're happy to sacrifice to Combust. Could also just take this Cabal Bludgeoner, but there's not a ton of weapons in Xenon, so not as excited about that. I think I'm gonna gamble on this Combust here over the Amber Waystone, just because the extra life from Amber Waystone isn't going to be that exciting for us, I don't think. I like Bang Sarasaur, works well with Inspire guys, and there's not a whole lot else here for us. There are a couple of Justice cards. We've got Madness, which is kind of like a weird finisher, but I don't love Madness. So I'm just going to take the consistent Sarasaur. Duskcaller allows for some Nightfall. Initiative of the Sands could allow us to ramp to 3 quicker and get us into Duskcaller and other things. So I kind of like taking Initiate here. Grenadendrone is a pretty decent 1-drop as well. I'm having difficulty determining where we're supposed to be between Stone Scar and Xenon, but I think I'm gonna continue down the Xenon path at this point and take this Initiative of the Sands. Sorrow's Shroud isn't my favorite weapon, but I like it more than I like Disciplined Amanera, but hopefully I don't have to play this card. I'm going to take the Grenadendrone here. I really don't know if we're supposed to be in Xenon or Stone Scar at this point, and it's kind of dangerous because I'm waffling at this point between the two, but we're only in Pack 2, so maybe it's not the worst situation. I'm not going to play any of these cards in my deck, so I'm just going to take Stalwart Shield. Once again, more cards that I'm not going to play. Probably not going to play Blood Call Invocation, but I'll take it anyway, and take Swoop Sergeant. Alright, Beastcaller's Amulet is no joke. If you get that on curve and your opponent can't do anything about it, they're way behind at that point. So I like picking that up here. Divining Rod, not too exciting in this deck. So yeah, Beastcaller's Amulet is pretty good. Really like Nocturnal Creeper as well. There's also Into the Furnace, so a lot of playable cards. Thorn Beast as well, but the Beastcaller's Amulet takes the cake. A second Beastcaller's Amulet's pretty good. Could also play Torch. Could also just grab this banner to splash for the Combust potentially. This is a really hard choice. There's also an Archive Curator, which is just crazy good. I feel like it has to be Archive Curator over everything else. Yeah, I'm going to take this Archive Curator here, and that might seal the deal that we're going to be in Xenon over Stone Scar. Extinguish is a really nice pickup here. Always enjoy more removal, so happy to see that. There's also Teleport, Grenadendrone, Rampage, so still decent fire cards coming through. Extinguish is a good shadow card though, so we're happy to see it. Granite Acolyte and Into the Furnace are both solid. Could take Grenamender here. I'm going to take the Granite Acolyte here. I'm not losing out much by passing this Grenamender. Nocturnal Creeper is very nice, holds the ground well, so I like seeing that here. Generally don't like playing Sabotage. Pack Hunt might be a finisher in our deck. Disassembler is a decent 2-drop. But we keep bouncing back and forth between these three factions and we don't have any fixing, so really in a tough spot here. Gonna take the Pack Hunt to kind of commit to this Xenon. I don't think I can keep waffling back and forth and end up with a decent deck at this point. And then there's all this red. I'm not playing Belching Behemoth. It's an 8-drop that I'll never play, so I'll pick one of these fire cards, and I'm going to take Guerrilla Fighter here. Hip Shot is fine. Voyaging Lumen could make the deck. Given that we might end up in a 3-color deck, I'm going to take this Praxis Banner here. Audacious Bandit's fine, and Powder Keg is fine. So before we look at this last pack, where are we? We are in a weird 3-color mess, honestly. If we cut the time, what's our deck look like? Honestly, not that bad. I kind of like the look of this deck. Kind of a weird curve, but I like what I'm seeing. Now let's cut the red and add the time back in. And what does that look like? This also doesn't look that bad. The shadow, I think, is definitely the strongest. But the fire isn't bad. The time, also not bad. So we'll continue to just kind of toe this line between these three factions and see where we end up. So looking at this last pack, we've got 4 cards across the top row that are very good for us. We've got Illumination Wisp, we've got Watchful Amanera. I think it would be right to pick a Shadow card here because I feel like we know we're going to end up with Shadow in the deck and we don't know about the other 2 colors yet. If we get a Preserver of Dualities, I think we end up in Xenon. If we get... I don't know what we would need in Stone Scar to drive us that way. So maybe it's just that we're in Xenon now and we really shouldn't consider these other fire cards at this point. I think the strongest card here is Surgeon Saw. Allows you to bring back a unit and get lifesteal on a guy, which is very strong. So I really like this card a lot and gonna take it here. So Pathlighter is probably a pretty good reason to be in that Wisp Radiant deck. There's also a Surgeon Saw, so we could just take that to remain open, but we could also take the Pathlighter to be in the Xenon deck. It doesn't seem like many good fire cards are coming through at this point, so kind of seems like that's drying up for us. We didn't get enough of the good fire cards in packs 2 and 3 for us to push that way, so probably going to end up in this Xenon deck. So I think Pathlighter makes a pretty strong case for us to be in the Wisp Radiant deck. We've already got 1 Surgeon Saw. I don't, they don't get bad in multiples or anything like that, but I think Pathlighter is strong enough to pull us into this Wisp Radiant deck. We've got the Soulbringer. It's another deadly guy to hold the ground, so I like what this is doing for our deck. Here, Blade Whirl makes a lot of sense, so I'm going to take that here. We've got a couple interesting picks for the Wisp Radiant deck here. We've got either Spiteful Lumen to make one of our Wisps deadly. We've got Spite Feeder as a 1-drop. And then we've got Mistress of Light that pumps our Wisps. And how many Wisps do we have? So we've got 3 Wisps. I don't know that justifies picking Mistress of Light. These other 2 cards I'm also not excited about though. I don't really want to mill myself with Spite Feeder. I didn't get a ton of recursion, and my tribute cards are Pathlighter, Soulbringer, and that's it. So I only have 2 tribute cards, so I don't think Spite Feeder makes sense. So I'm going to take this Mistress of Light, but likely not play it, but I might. A second Mistress of Light? Or do I want a second Back Alley Delinquent? I will pause and say, I think we made the right call in going in the Xenon direction. The red wasn't really coming through in Pack 1, so not surprising that it's not coming through in Pack 4 either. I'm going to do the Mistress of Light. We have like this potential like crazy combo of, Xenon Life Speaker and Voyaging Lumen just making all these wisps and these Mistress of Lights pumping them up. So I'm going to go for that over the Back Alley Delinquent because we have enough early drops here. We don't need to worry too much about our early game. Here I'll take Meditation, probably won't play it. I'm going to take this Ancient of the Ice Caves just for the collection. I don't think we have enough spells to warrant playing Initiation Bell, but I'll take it. And more filler cards here. Alright, so we're a little low on playables, so we need to go back and see, is there anything else that we can be playing in this deck? Alright, this deck is pretty rough. Gibbering Jackal can be played as, a potential tribute guy. There are some X1s in the format we might want to take out, so not terrible. All the other units look good. Pack Hunt is a legitimate finisher in this deck. Don't think we want Meditation, and I don't think we want Initiation Bell. Beast Caller's Amulet seems fine. Sorrow's Shroud I'm not super excited about, but I don't think there's much else for us to play. The reason I'm willing to play this Combust here is because we're low on playables, and I think it's high enough impact given that we have some of these weak early units that we're happy to sacrifice. So happy to play the Combust here. Is there anything else we want to play? So the only other fire card I'm thinking about playing is this Ruination Sledge. I think if I did that, I would cut the Sorrow Shroud. Don't know if that's right to have the higher power weapon. We only have a couple of flyers, so it's not likely that we're going to win in the air. Yeah, I'm just going to play the Sorrow Shroud instead and take off this Ruination Sledge and just cost us the 1 slot for consistency. We'll play the Praxis Banner. And then we just need 2 other, I would say 2 Fire Sigils, Praxis Banner, and then you've got the Learned Herbalist to splash the Combust. So that should be plenty. Right now we've got 6, 7 time, 8 if we go 1 more there, and we can go up to 8 Shadow as well. The Mistress of Light, the Soulbringer, and the Corrupted Umbran are our doubles. So we have double Shadow before we have double time. So this is going to be our first 3-color deck of the season. Going to be really interesting to see how it does. We've got some pretty weak cards in here, but we've got a lot of synergies too, so I'm very curious to see how it does. I also just want to say thank you for joining me for this 5th episode. I've really enjoyed interacting with you guys, and I hope you continue to enjoy the content. If you are enjoying it, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and a subscription to the channel. That way you know when the videos go live. I really don't enjoy doing the self-promotion on the subreddit. I don't think it adds meaningful conversation on the subreddit, so I really don't enjoy doing it. So from now on, I'm only going to do one post there a week on Wednesdays most likely, and that'll have Tuesday and Wednesday's video in it, and then Thursday's video will be posted the day after. If you guys do have any feedback about the videos, about any of my picks or my plays, don't hesitate to put that information in the comments below. I'm happy to talk through it and, why I made the choices that I did. This was a really interesting draft where I kind of waffled between two faction pairings kind of the whole way. So pretty interesting stuff, lots of room for debate, and love hearing what you guys have to say. Just want to close by saying thanks for watching and hope you join me for the games.